Welcome to Holly's Quiet Harbor. Take a deep breath and let your mind begin to rest. Settle in now. Let your body soften and allow this story to unfold slowly, like silk drifting in the air. Long ago, in a bright and bustling city, there lived an emperor who loved beautiful things. He loved colors that shimmered in the sunlight, fabrics that whispered when they moved, and garments so finely made that they seemed almost like dreams you could wear. Every morning, he would walk through his grand wardrobe halls, running his fingers along rows and rows of clothing. Velvets deep as twilight, silks light as morning mist, threads spun with gold that caught even the smallest flicker of light. To him, clothing was more than fabric. It was comfort. It was identity. It was a way to feel certain in a world that often felt uncertain. One day, two travelers arrived at the palace gates. They spoke softly, confidently, and told the emperor of a cloth unlike any other. A cloth so delicate, so refined, that it could only be seen by those who were wise and worthy. To anyone else, it would appear invisible. Now, instead of excitement, something quieter stirred inside the emperor. Not fear, but a gentle unease, like a small ripple in still water. Yet, he invited them in. The travelers set up their looms in a sunlit chamber. From morning until evening, they moved their hands through the air as if weaving something extraordinary. Courtiers came and went, each one stepping closer to the loom. Each one peering carefully and seeing nothing. But no one said so, because sometimes silence feels safer than truth. Now imagine yourself there for a moment, standing in that quiet room. Sunlight warming the floor beneath your feet. The soft rhythm of movement. The hush of expectation. And the strange stillness of something that isn't quite real, yet no one wants to disturb. When the emperor finally came to see the cloth, he stood very still. He looked and looked again, but there was nothing there. Only empty space. And yet, instead of panic, instead of pretending, something else began to happen. He noticed the quiet, the stillness of the room, the absence of weight, the way his breath moved gently in his chest. For the first time in a long while, there was nothing to admire, nothing to judge, nothing to compare, just space. And in that space, something softened inside him. He realized how long he had been chasing things. Approval, admiration, perfection, layer upon layer, like the many garments he wore each day. So when the travelers presented the finished clothes, light as air, soft as nothing at all, he paused and took a slow breath. He gently removed the heavy robes he'd been wearing, not with urgency or embarrassment, but with quiet intention. One layer, then another, until at last he stood not in his finery, but in stillness. The travelers pretended to dress him, but the emperor felt something different entirely. Not fabric, but freedom. When he stepped outside for the procession, the city was waiting. People leaned from windows, lined the streets, whispering, watching. And at first, they said what they thought they were supposed to say. How beautiful, how magnificent. Until a small voice, clear and unburdened, drifted through the air. But he's not wearing anything at all. The words didn't land like a blow. They landed like truth. Soft, simple, and undeniable. And something remarkable happened. The emperor didn't shrink. He didn't rush. He didn't pretend. He smiled. Just a small, quiet smile. Because in that moment, he understood. All the layers, all the expectations, all the things he thought he needed to be, they weren't required. The breeze moved gently around him, cool against his skin, honest and real. And for the first time in a very long while, he felt at ease. The crowd grew quiet, not with shock, but with recognition. Because somewhere deep inside, they too understood how often they had worn invisible things, expectations, fears, roles, and how light it might feel to set them down. The procession slowed. A moment of collective stillness. And in that stillness, something gentle spread through the city. A quiet permission to be exactly as they were. No more pretending. No more carrying what wasn't real. Just breathing. Just being. Just resting. And now, as the story fades, you can imagine that same lightness settling gently over you. Nothing to prove, nothing to carry, nothing to hold up for others to see. Just rest. Let your thoughts drift like soft fabric in a quiet room. Let your breath slow. And as you settle deeper, remember this. You don't need the layers. You don't need the performance. You are already enough, just as you are. Sleep now, softly, peacefully, and without weight. Good night.